Alright, so first hand, we got queen 7. Alright, I'm definitely flatting here. It's definitely a strong enough hand to flat. I'm probably flatting something like queen 6 as well, queen 6 off. Just folding these hands out of position versus a min raise is just not going to be as profitable. It's something that, Maris has written about, and I strongly believe that, playing a wide range out of position is more profitable than not. And I definitely think flatting is max EV. So here, it's kind of a weird spot with villain min betting. But in general, I think that this is a very good flop for us to check raise. The reason is just that it actually doesn't hit most villains' opening ranges. So we're playing against a random villain, so he maybe has a somewhat tight opening range. But I still think average villains do c-bet. And so suddenly on this board, if he has a somewhat tight opening range, a lot of it misses the board because he's not opening 7-2 and 5-3 and 4-2 and those kind of low card hands. So this flop is actually pretty bad for him. And so if he's c-betting somewhat wide, we're going to have a lot of fold equity check raising. Now we could also check call. And I guess in this case, when he's betting 20, check calling is definitely going to be much better than if you're half pot c-betting. But notice that when we do check raise, it sets up the pot a lot better for barreling as well. If he does happen to have a weak hand like king 4 or king 2 or queen 4 or queen 5, it's going to be a hand that won't be able to do well against barrels. And so if we check raise here, I think we define our range as being stronger and do well against, better against the hands that villain actually did hit on this flop. Throw in the fact that we actually do have 2 overcards to the flop, so we can flop some equity. Our 7 gives us some backdoor straight draws, and I'm check raising this board. Again, when he min bets, it's much closer to a flat. I think I still prefer check raise for the same reasons involved, but notice that flatting will be better just because we're getting a cheaper price in general, and we're not investing as much to flat. But I'm definitely not folding in this spot. Once we hit our turn, we should be looking to get value. And I think that leading out is going to be the best play, just because villain did min raise. And this isn't the kind of turn card that many villains will barrel. It hits a flush, which is scary for a lot of villains. It is a higher card, so I don't think he's going to be betting out with his 4-2-5. At the same time, I think that we can still get some value, at least one street, from those hands. So I do like our student's bet here. I think it's correct, and I think it's best. And I think 70 is a good size. We definitely need it to be somewhat big, just because there will be a lot of draws in villain's range that we do want to charge. And the ace comes, and this isn't the best card for us, just because it does hit a decent part of villain's range. There will be some ace-2, ace-4, ace-5 type holdings. It does hit his straights if he does have a 3x. But I think those are smaller parts of his range than the weak pairs. So I would still value bet here. I think that we can get value out of his 5x and 4x with a small bet here. I would bet something quite small, like bet fold something like, I think 80, just to really try to get thin value out of his 4s and 5s. That would be our goal. So yeah, I think that we do miss value when we check this river. Obviously, when he min bets, we can call. There's not much value in raising, even though he's min betting. I think there's not much value in raising, just because his bet range is going to be quite a bit stronger, because he's going to be checking back a good amount of his 4x, 5x, and our villain flips over aces, which is a good hand to note down at this point, just because he's playing it in such a passive way. I mean, taking such a passive line, calling the turn, only min betting the flop and river. I mean, it's a really terrible line. So we could mark them both as a fish and as sort of a passive fish.